I can hear you.
Trump is now president of the United States.
Why are men and boys struggling? And what should we do about it?
In a world of chaos and our attention is being pulled in different directions, the Pursuing Truth podcast is seeking the solution by having authentic conversations that are aimed to impact culture. Hello and welcome back to the Pursuing Truth podcast. I'm your host, Levi Brickley, and this week, for the first time in over a year, I am releasing an episode. And I'm really excited about this because there's been a lot of areas that God has worked in my life. And I had the opportunity to sit down with my best friend, Ryan Wilson, and have this conversation. So I hope that you enjoy this and just listen to the growth between both of us and see that where you are currently at, there is hope for the future and things can change. All right. I guess, should I do an intro?
You can if you want.
Do you feel like it throws it off when I do an intro?
It delays it, but I mean...
I don't want to delay anything. We've delayed it.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. The whole time you're doing that, we could have just been redoing this.
I know. But, I felt it was necessary to try and recover 30 minutes of a file. And then...
They would have saved us from doing this again, but at the same time...
Yeah, I spent $50 on it, dude, and then come to find out it had no audio. So what good is a podcast without audio? I'm sure somebody doesn't want to watch us just on a video with our mouths moving with no audio.
So why don't you tell them what happened?
So I got a 1 terabyte hard drive on my computer that I run all of this equipment off of. And I didn't have enough space. So we're like 30 minutes into the episode. And
the conversation was great, too.
And we're going to try and recreate that to the best of our ability.
Yep.
So, Ryan, where you been, man? What's been going on?
So it's been almost a year. And we were talking about this a little bit ago. It's been almost a year since I've hopped on a podcast with Levi.
He almost said old Leviathan.
Yeah, I almost did. I'm glad you caught that. But so it's been almost a year, and through that year, I feel like I have changed immensely. But also through that year, I lost my grandma, my grandpa, my aunt, and then my mom's best friend, and it's been like a roller coaster ride. So I kind of just gave myself that time to, heal. And it's crazy because through all that death, none of it hit me until like last week. And it's been insane. But also, I've been feeling more motivated and everything. And yeah, I just lost it.
It's okay. Why wouldn't you lose it? Like you just talked about all of it and now you got to talk about it again and it feels unnatural.
Exactly.
That's, I've ran across this a couple times podcasting, and it is one of the most discouraging things because it gets so pumped. And, we've been talking about it for weeks, getting started again. I went out and I bought some new equipment, got you the same microphone that I have. That way we have some consistency of audio. And then also,
these awesome stands.
I know these awesome stands, can move them around. They're awesome. As well as some equipment to get the same video quality for both of us, as opposed to I used to run one with a camera on my phone and one with the Sony ZV-1, and now I got two Sony ZV-1s, and then I got two good quality capture cards, and the image looks great. The sound quality, I'm sure, is absolutely great. So that's how much excitement I had going into this. And
throughout this podcast, just know I'm going to be looking over to double check to see if everything's running accordingly.
I will tell you because I can see it.
Okay.
So we're not going to lose it. So where I've been for the last year, it's very much the same. I mean, my work schedule has kind of just been all over the place. I was working 3 evenings, a night shift, and a day shift all in 1 week. I mean, around the clock. But God has really blessed me financially with the job that I have. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to step into more of a leadership role. And yeah, work is very much the same. Still working private security for a gas station. Kind of sounds cheesy. I always think it sounds cheesy. I'm not too proud when I say it, but I do know that we are the higher echelons of security, and 7 years in the profession of law enforcement security. So it's been a ride for me, and it's taught me a lot of things and given me a lot of perspective on the world. The other element where I've been for the last year is just in a period of growth. Moving beyond some of the things that I was challenged with in some of the previous episodes that many of you guys got to watch. I found myself self-loathing and looking down on myself all the time, or like trying to find some aim and orientation in some challenges that I was having within my family at the time. And I feel that not only have I had the opportunity to reconcile with so many of my family members that we were kind of off base with, now we've reconciled those relationships and it feels good. I feel more confident. And now moving forward, I know that having these conversations, it's not going to be self-loathing, but I hope to really bring out just how God is working in my life. There's a quote by John Piper. He says, God is most glorified in us when we are most satisfied in him. And a reminder of that is that all of these challenges that I have with friends and or family members in this case, if I become satisfied in who God calls me to be, and although I may be challenged and I feel unworthy at times, that the more satisfied I am in him, the more glorified he is through the life I'm living doing this. Last, what was that, Friday? We were having, and that's pretty much just been this last year, just working through that and fully grasping that quote by John Piper. But we were talking about this on Friday. We were talking about feeling unworthy. Let's talk about that. What does that mean to feel unworthy to be on a podcast and talk about our relationship with God?
Okay, something that you were just talking about was your confidence and everything through this growing process of the last year and so. And that kind of goes back to our conversation. So I told Levi, like, not even, when did you start podcasting? 2021?
Yeah.
I told him, like, I am not made for podcasting. Like, one, my confidence level was not there whatsoever. I did not like talking. I didn't like having a camera in front of me. I didn't like having the microphone in front of me, lights, all that stuff. It was just like too much for me. And like,
it's a lot of pressure.
Levi and I, we can have conversations in the car, wherever we're at. But some reason, whenever there was a camera in front of me, I always struggled to keep that conversation going, or it's just normally one-sided. But within this last year, I feel like my confidence level has grown a lot.
Yeah.
And now it's not as hard for me to just sit here and talk in front of a camera in front of you.
Well, and if you're open to it, let's talk about some of the sin that kind of like bogs us down.
All right.
Like because like here I am, I talk about perspectives on women and perspectives on dating and how I'm supposed to be and how things are supposed to look. And then I'm discussing these ideals, but I'm not fully living up to those ideals. I'm falling every single day. And so it's hard for me to confidently show up and know that it's a good message, yet I'm failing in it too. I need to be better is the way that I feel. And then so I'm like, I get behind the camera, much like the sermon today at church, the audacity of King David to say that he is righteous, yet he was with Bathsheba and he was doing X, Y, and Z. But God's purpose, his will in David's life still remained. And because of the sacrifice, because of Jesus for us, that we are made righteous in the eyes of God. It's not that I'm perfect. It's not that all my edges are rounded over, but to look at myself the way that God looks at me, to look at yourself the way God looks at you when you feel a lack of confidence, when you feel unworthy, and to see that Jesus covers that with his mercy and his grace. His love, his grace is always sufficient for you. And it's not an excuse. Your feelings of unworthiness is not an excuse for you not to be oriented towards the purpose that God has for you in your life.
So something I was telling Levi the other day was I stopped posting on TikTok, stopped doing podcasts with him, everything like that, because I struggle in certain areas like lust. And it's not only lust, there's multiple different areas that I struggle in. And I just feel unworthy of, like, why am I posting about God and everything like that and trying to come off as like a goody good shoes, or however that's pronounced.
Goody two shoes?
Yeah, goody good. Yeah.
It's
I can't even talk right now. But I didn't want to come off like I'm this like perfect Christian person.
Yeah.
While I'm struggling in different areas.
And the pressure is there. Like, people listen to us. I mean, and we've heard conversations. I've heard conversations where people are like, oh, you just think you're so good, that you just think that you're all this and that you're all that.
You want to feel really convicted? Go through these struggles in certain areas and everything like that. Post a Christian TikTok. And I'm telling you, for me anyways, for my experience with that, you feel so convicted whenever you click post.
Oh, yeah. And even this, like, you don't even have to post it. Just go back and watch it a couple months from now, after you've kind of like healed from maybe something that you're going through right now. Go back and watch it and be like, oh.
See, and that's growth. Like, you could post something like months, years ago, like something that I have talked about on my TikTok before was how I have all these videos of me drinking, you drinking, and everything like that, and like how my life has changed since then. But I'm going to keep those posts up there to like have people see you can get out of that boat that you're in.
Yep.
Like, and there's better out there for you, you know?
So you briefly discussed, you know, that about your grandma. What else has gone on? What else has gone on in your life this last year?
So I decided it was time to get my driver's license at the age of 27.
That was something we never talked about on the podcast, by the way.
Yeah, we never did talk about it, but it took me 27 years to get my license. And the reason is I was scared to drive. I've always known like how to drive, but I just was scared to. And the reason is, whenever I was younger, we got in a car accident and got hit by a drunk driver. And ever since then, like, the thought has crept in my mind. And I don't know why, because I was only like 8 or 9 whenever this happened, maybe even 7. And ever since then, anytime that like I thought about driving, I thought of not like intentionally hurting people, but
yeah,
the thought of like me causing somebody to lose their life, or like a family going through grief because of something I did, like on the road or something like that, just always terrified me. And I used to have nightmares of driving. And I'm pretty sure I talked to you about that before.
Yeah.
And just the thought of driving scared me. And yeah, but I finally decided to face that fear and get my license, and then bought a car. And man, it's a lot more freeing. And I really, looking back at it, I don't understand. And I say this multiple times, especially whenever you're in the car with me. Like, I cannot believe I used to be scared of driving. Like,
yeah.
It's easy.
It says a lot, though, because what you can pull from that is, one, courage to face your fear. And upon facing your fear, you take responsibility of your life. You start making moves towards what you want to be.
And then as a result of that, stepping into it, getting the license, buying the car, now you experience the freedom of that, the joy of being able to go from X to Z without having to call me or somebody else to come pick you up. And as a friend, as well as many of our other friends, for years we were hounding on you like, come on, Ryan, dude, you're 27, you're 26, you're 25. Like, it's time, man. Like, it's time for you to get a driver's license, dude. Come on,
Dude,
step
and
up.
I was one of those people that never thought I was going to get it.
Honestly, I thought you would never get it. This sounds messed up, but like I would take Ryan home and I'd be like, oh, I'm dropping him off at the house where he's going to live and die. Like live here now for another 50 years, live at the same house, not drive. Like,
and then that's where I was at that time. Like, I was not motivated whatsoever to do just about anything. Like, I always kept a job and everything. It was just, I wasn't motivated in other areas in my life.
yeah.
And driving was definitely one of them.
And then what was the other thing? What else happened? You got a new job?
Yeah, I got a new job since then, and that's going all right. It's a job.
Yeah.
I'm making way better money than I was at my previous job, though, so I am grateful for that. It's given me the opportunity to afford a car.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
whereas my other job, I wouldn't have been able to buy a car.
You get paid way more than what you were doing. So yeah, that's good. What did we talk about before we lost the recording?
So I do want to get into this. Speaking of like our growth and everything within the last year, there was a time whenever we started podcasting together that we made a series called Dating in the XYZ.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes back to our conversation a little bit ago of how you could like post something a few months ago and look back at it and you're like kind of like cringing over it. Like, man, I should have not put this out there. Or man, like times have changed so much since then and everything like that. And something that we were talking about a little bit ago was that series that we did. That was our first series that we've ever made together.
Yep.
Okay. And at that time we were bitter towards the world. We were going through heartbreak. We had mixed emotions about everything. And like looking back at it, man, like we have changed so much.
That was my most depressing season now that I think about it.
It probably was. We were going through it at that time.
We were really in a dark place.
And whereas nowadays we're like clear-minded and everything like that, at that time it was just like there was a darkness over us, dude. And we didn't really care what we said. We didn't really think before we spoke. Mm-hmm. And just like thinking of that time, it was just a lot different. Like we have changed so much since then.
Was there like one specific thing for you? Because I'm thinking of one specific thing for me that really turned it around. Was there like one specific thing that got you headed down that path of recovering from that depression?
So there was one night I was in my room and we talked about this, and I just I had this feeling that I needed to read the Bible again. And like this was like the first night that I was actually sober in a while, because we had those times where we'd drink like every day. And I was sober. I'm pretty sure you were working or something. And
if I wasn't working at that time, I was drunk somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And it had to have been God, but told me I needed to open up my Bible and everything like that. And I read my Bible for the first time in a while that night. And
do you remember what you were reading? Anything specific?
So I got on the Bible app and I just looked up, like they have different plans on there. And at the time I was depressed. So what I did was I looked up depression, and it went over like a little testimony, and then it had certain Bible verses. And I can't recall on the top of my head which Bible verses.
What a great resource for somebody to use.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful. I still use it to this day.
And what was that process like moving forward beyond that? I mean,
it wasn't like an overnight change whatsoever. Like the next night after the night before, I was just like, man, I really need to get more intentional with my relationship with God. And so the next night, like reading is not something I like to do. Like I do not like reading. It's just hard for me to like fully get into it, but I kept forcing myself to. And by like day 5 of reading those, I found one that said, read the Bible within a year. Now I've never read the whole Bible. So I thought this is a good opportunity, while I'm invested in reading and everything like that, I need to do this. And I did so good. I made it to day 300.
You made it to the, you only had 65
I only had 65
left.
more days left. And I just now finished it.
You did finish it. So you did read
Yep.
the whole Bible then?
Yep. And
What
not
was
in
that
365
like?
days.
Because I haven't read the whole Bible. I would say for me, I'm very slow and methodical in my reading. Like I'll read, I'll do something in passing, but like back in August, I started in Genesis, and I was actually working through the Bible recap book, and I went through Job and Genesis through Cain and Abel, and so like that's as far as I got. But like just the things I learned in just that little bit just has changed my perspective on the Bible itself. Like,
and I'm telling you, perspective is the word that I was looking for, because reading throughout the whole entire Bible, I've heard these Bible verses used in many different ways ever since growing up. Like growing up, I thought a Bible verse was just like there to teach you and everything like that. I didn't know there were stories behind it,
or like, don't do this, don't do this is the way it felt too.
And I will say, dude, that there's so many stories in the Bible that are so like helpful for different situations. Like at that time, whenever we did dating in the XYZ, I feel like we were more like along the lines of Ecclesiastes with Samson and everything.
Not Samson, but King Solomon.
Yeah. And I don't know why I said Samson, but that is where we were at that time.
Yes, everything is meaningless.
And then like at church today, talking about David and like his life. And then we just talked about on Friday. And Levi and I haven't gone to church together, and goodness, he's been working on Sunday, so he hasn't been able to go.
It's been since August, dude. It's been eight, 9 months.
And we were talking on Friday about just what we were talking about a little bit ago, about me not feeling worthy enough to post on TikTok anymore, because I do struggle in certain areas. We go to church today, and the conversation is about David and how, like he's saying that he's lived
He's lived a righteous life.
Right, yeah. And if you look at the story of David, you could tell like that is not true.
The audacity.
Yeah.
I'm just going to continue to say that about that today.
And that is something I needed to hear today. And I'm so glad that we went to church today.
Me too. I thoroughly enjoy it. And honestly, switching, so it's another thing. My schedule changed. I'm working day shifts now, 7 to 3 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday. And that's going to allow me to go to church every Sunday, and just how freeing that feels to be able to do that. Because I feel that's a key aspect of my life that I've been missing out on. And I was thinking about this when we were driving back from lunch, and I've been so hard on people, so hard on pastors, so hard on you, so hard on, girl I'm talking to. And maybe not in a way that's like absolutely demeaning, like I still care about you, but I'm like, my words can be really brash and hard-hitting sometimes. And I just think about how much I've lacked mercy. I've lacked grace with my words. Like, I will pull out the sword of my words and I will slash it around a room. And this sounds bad, because like there's another element. There's levels to this. I'm not severing the head of the person in front of me. It's not that like that. But I will kick you in the shins.
But see,
that's more along the lines of like the way that I've spoke with people.
See, and that's a sign of growth too, realizing like, hey, like I've been a little bit too harsh like earlier on down, but this is how I'm going to fix that, you know?
Yeah. And then the other thing I was thinking was we have so much, well, we don't have a whole lot of time. I don't want to make it look like, oh, well, you know, you can just kind of do whatever you want. Like, or that the perspective of time is you have so much of it, but you lose it so fast. Right. And so there's an element of like implementation and doing, and then the element of being present. And I feel that so often we lose the presence because we're so focused on the future. And there's enough time to just be patient to like experience this lack of grace, this mercy that I may not even be aware of, but like to experience it and to be present with it. Like, ooh, I really need to work on that. And it's when you're in bed at night and you're thinking back on it. It's those little conversations that you're having with yourself, like, I shouldn't have done that. But it's those that are changing you over time, and being present with those conversations. Like, yeah, that's real. Don't bury that under the rug. Like, be okay with that. Like, allow it to sit on your spirit and convict you, because that's what's improving you for tomorrow. And then, so I think about now, 2 years ago, we're in the middle of that dating in the XYZ generation, and we're talking about women and the way that women should be. Ew, gross, OnlyFans women. Ew, gross, what she posts on her Instagram, TikTok. And yeah, I don't want a woman like that, absolutely, but let me have a conversation that's more graceful, that's more merciful. For instance, the woman on Instagram, the woman on OnlyFans, why is she doing those things? Because she's hurt. She's filling a void with the attention she's getting from those things. I have no qualms in my mind and on my heart and spirit about that. And knowing that she's broken, knowing that she's hurt, my conversation, the way I speak, I need to be responsible for. That it needs to be loving and not so demeaning. It needs to be uplifting and encouraging that, hey, you don't have to wallow down there in the darkness. Like, there is another element to life that is beautiful. And maybe it comes from some trauma from a bad man in her life, that she wasn't encouraged and lifted up, and her value wasn't seen beyond her physical. And so all she's ever known from this society and culture is that her only value is what she presents physically. But God looks at the heart. And to see the immense value in the heart, because here's the thing, because of that bad experience from a man, she may have a poor perspective of all men. And so if I'm speaking in a way that's demeaning, I validate that presupposition she has of men. And so I need to be more graceful in a representation of Christ, that my words are honoring to him, so that she sees that there's something different. And God begins to work on her heart to mold her into that Proverbs 31 woman. How do us men identify a Proverbs 31 woman? And mind you, these are ideals to orient ourselves towards. It's meant to give you aim. It's not meant to bog you down because you're like, oh, well, I don't match that one. I don't match that one. I don't match that one. I don't match all the things that a biblical man is called to be, because then I'd be perfect. So that's not the point of it. The point of it is orientation and aim. Something to be reminded of later when you're challenged with something like, yeah, I can improve on that. Again, I talked about earlier, like the conversations I'm having with myself, be present with them. This is how we begin to turn our lives around in this constant walk with Christ. We still have free will. Jesus is there for us and with us through all of it. We have free will to decide how we're going to show up and what we're going to do. So, some key elements of a Proverbs 31 woman is strong faith and devotion. A virtuous woman is deeply connected to God, seeking his guidance and living according to his principles. Diligence and hard work. She is industrious, not idle, and works diligently to care for her family and home. Trustworthiness and reliability. She is trustworthy and dependable, earning the full confidence of her husband and others. Wisdom and sound judgment. She possesses wisdom and makes wise decisions, guiding her family and contributing to the well-being of her community. Generosity and compassion. She is generous and compassionate, sharing her resources and time with those in need. Kindness and compassion. She is known for her kindness and compassion, extending warmth and understanding to everyone around her. Strength and courage. She is strong and courageous, facing challenges with resilience and determination. Dignity and modesty. She possesses a quiet dignity and inner strength, avoiding vanity and embracing modesty. Resourcefulness. She is resourceful and able to make the most of what she has, preparing for the future and meeting the needs of her family. Love and care. She loves her family and community, making sacrifices for their well-being, nurturing their growth. All those things, doesn't that sound like the perfect godly woman that you're looking for?
Mm-hmm.
And what's absent in all those things? Physicality. It's all about a heart posture. It's not about the way you look. A man who is oriented towards God is looking for a godly woman. Look, Paul writes to not be unequally yoked. So often people get into relationships and they have this anticipation like, oh, maybe if I do this, it will inspire them to change. Maybe if I do this, they'll come to Jesus. Maybe if they'll eventually come around with time. And it should be a warning sign that this isn't a person you should be with. I mean, honestly, God's word is very clear on this. It's about the heart posture and wanting to serve God. It's not about possessing all of these things. It's that these things are the aim for to become. And you may not in your lifetime become all of those things as a woman. But as a man, that's what I'm looking for. So I'm talking about women. What am I called to be? What am I called to be? Because I got to be, let's say a woman's oriented towards all these things. She's working towards it. Her heart is set on God and the purpose that he has for her and her life. Who do I need to be?
A leader.
A leader. So how do we lead?
By following God's word and implementing that within your relationship, within your family.
Exactly. Like these things that we've been talking about doing right now. The other the next thing on leadership is responsibility. So you become accountable to the leadership, the responsibility that you have in that position, and you act on it. But you do it with love, with humility. You do it to protect and to provide for the future of the family. Men are expected to protect their families and provide for their needs, both mentally, spiritually, demonstrating care and concern for their well-being. Gentleness. You know what? I think about this. All of our failures, man, I deserve for God to drag me around, like hog tie me to the back of a vehicle and drag me through town. That's what I deserve.
We're all deserving of that, believe it or not.
I know, right? But he's so gentle with me. He's so patient. He's so graceful. He's so merciful with me. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loves the church. Well, how does Jesus love me? He doesn't drag me through the streets. He's gentle with me. He molds my heart. He's got a chisel and he's got a hammer, and he's hardly chipping away. Steadfastness. A man of God endures to the end, persevering through trials and tribulations, maintaining his faith and integrity. Rooms that his wife is not in, he's still honoring her. Even if he's by himself and he has the idea like, I can watch this video, nobody will ever know. He does it with integrity. In the moments of his trials and tribulation, he reminds himself of what Paul talks about. Suffering builds character. That persevering and suffering well for my family is a benefit for them. I'm going to be steadfast because I'm going to love her the way that Christ loved the church. He was steadfast as he was walking that cross to the top of the mountain. He was steadfast as they were lashing his skin. He knew the purpose, and he maintained. To be a fortress, to be strong, to protect. I was thinking about this. I should be a shield for my wife from the wars of the outside world. But we both should be able to come underneath this shield and feel at home. And the only way I feel at home is with her. That's how I should feel. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Humility. I think a lot of men struggle with this one, right?
Oh, definitely.
How often, dude, we're sitting here playing chess. I'm King Levi or whatever, you know? I'm the best, and I get this ego and hot-headedness. No, I'm not. I'm not this perfect man. I don't deserve to be running a podcast. I don't deserve all these things that I have. I don't deserve this home. I don't deserve this job. These are blessings.
They're blessings, and like I always pray about this, but I hope and pray that I'd never get to the point where I feel complacent.
Yeah.
And where like I let that me feeling complacent get like arrogant and cocky about those things. Like I'm thankful for everything that I do have. Everything is a blessing. Mm-hmm. And I really hope and pray I never get complacent with all of it.
And an element to the humility, talking about being a godly man, is being honored. Like, I'm honored to be a man. I'm proud of it. Not to demean women, but that God has given me a purpose to be a good steward of his creation. Changing that perspective, right? Mm-hmm. You will work the land from the sweat of your brow was the consequence to Adam. But I'm honored. God gave us the position to name the animals. I'm honored. I will do that. God, thank you for giving me a purpose. Not that that's our only purpose. But God, thank you for giving me a position. Thank you for giving me a place, because God could have done it all. But God wanted to give his creation a position. And so I'm humble in that position. I'm honored in that position. I'm honored to lead my wife. And what does this mean for us, though? Is that means that we may be harder on ourselves as a result. Our convictions are deep. Our convictions need to be deep, because that's what's going to get us. That this is the Holy Spirit working on us, is the convictions. And stepping into a remembrance of Jesus' sacrifice for us. Because then I'm right back into this loop of loving her the same way Christ loved the church. Right? But I need to constantly be in a state of awareness of my failures and how to move forward. So in all the talk about the Proverbs 31 woman, and all the talk about the biblical manhood and the perspective, it's aim. It's orientation. It's not about perfection. It's about looking at who you could be for your partner in the benefit of God's kingdom. Because when a man and woman comes together, there's nothing more beautiful than that for future generations. And I genuinely believe that without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, because I come from a broken home, and had I have experienced something different, I wouldn't have been so challenged so often in my life. Is that a good ending spot?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy this episode? Did the conversations provoke thought? Do you believe that this would add value to your friends or family? If so, please share this on your social media. I appreciate all the support over the last few years that the Pursuing Truth podcast has received from so many of you. It has been encouraging and a journey that I have thoroughly enjoyed. And people like Ryan and my mom and Sam and Moses and so many people that I've had on the podcast over the years, I've been blessed with so many great relationships. And I believe by having these types of conversations, it can inspire conversations with our friends and our family so that we grow in a deeper relationship with one another. To be there, to encourage, to build up, to hold each other accountable, to improve together. Please make sure that you follow me on all social media, including Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and so on. Do the same for Ryan. In the description will be all of the links to all of the social media. You guys have a great rest of your week, and God bless.